Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Retired Living Truth Seminar Series for 2023. Feels funny to say that. Happy New Year to those who I haven't already had the pleasure of saying that to already. And today's topic is the truth about aging in the best place. And before we start talking about the topic and what it means, I just want to recognize a number of people who I was probably remiss last year not mentioning. And the first person I'd really like to thank so much is someone many have asked me about, is Alexa a real person or that device? So Alexa is a real person. She is what makes our seminars happen. And it was extra, thank you. She does deserve a round of applause. Yeah. Alexa is the person who does the reminder calls or helps Yvonne call you. She makes everything happen, organizes all of our partners. She has two young daughters who are with us here today because school was cancelled. So she had to adapt and be flexible, as we all need to be. And so I just thank you, Alexa, so much, Annette and I, for everything you do for us and for all of our partners. I'd also like to especially thank our other staff members. I know Teresa's here today. There's Teresa at the back. Without our team, this wouldn't happen. And I'd especially like to thank one person who's come some 8,000 miles to be here today, and that's our daughter, Alyssa, and I can't see her in, she might be outside. But she's traveled a long way to be with us. She's here on vacation, and she was here early this morning helping us set up. There's my daughter, our daughter, Alyssa at the back. Yeah, so thank you, Alyssa. Yeah. And the pressure's on us today. Not only is our daughter here, but I just see my mother-in-law, Annette's mum, walked in. And I also see Annette's aunt, uncle, cousin. So we're on our best behavior today. Yeah. I'd also like to thank a group of people that truly make this possible, and it's all of our education partners. So our education partners were out the front this morning greeting you as you came in. I saw Melissa at the front door helping people with binders and name tags. I saw Jerry there greeting people. I saw Lisa over on the coffee machine. Lisa, thank you, helping everybody with their coffee. If you need a coffee, Lisa's still there to help. So without our education partners, who are truly here to help, to give, to share, to educate, this wouldn't be possible. So I'd really like to recognize them. And in particular, we have three new education partners who have joined us this year. Lisa Fleck with Neo Home Loans. Northern Nevada Health Systems are a new education partner. Has anyone seen the big fancy new hospital we have here in Reno now? Yeah, so you'll get to learn more about the hospital and the services of Northern Nevada. So we're super pleased to have them as a partner. And then also Somerset Senior Living Community up in Somerset. Coincidence that they have the same name, our latest new retirement community. I think Julie's here with us today. And they're an independent living, assisted living, and memory care community. And we'll learn more about them and all of our returning sponsors. And you'll see more of them as the year goes on. What am I missing, Annette? Who didn't I thank? I know I missed thanking somebody else supposed to thank. Oh, I know who I was meant to thank. The most important people of all. About an hour ago, we were here and we were wondering if anyone was going to show up today, given the weather. So I really want to say thank you to all of you for actually being here. And I'm surprised. Actually, it's a kind of makes me almost tear up that so many people are willing to brave the weather to come along today to, just learn. So thank you so much for being here. I'm just curious. I know there was a lot of new people who had registered. I'm just wondering how many new people we have with us today who chose to come. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, for taking a chance with the road conditions to come along and be with us. It'll definitely be worth your while, I believe. So you should have all got a binder, especially the new people when you came in, and then you should find a handout on the table, which is going to be important. We're going to talk about that as we go along today. And if you didn't get a binder, just see one of the staff. And if you didn't get your front page of the binder updated, one of the team members will be happy to do that. And we'll talk more about that handout as we go along. Today's speakers, can anyone guess who's speaking today? Has anyone looked at the handout? Yeah, it's actually going to be my beautiful partner and wife, Annette, and myself. And I guess the person I should really be thanking is Annette, who, without Annette, we wouldn't be doing this. So if you can come up and join me, Annette. So just in terms of today's topic, the truth about aging in the best place, I guess we'd like to talk a little bit about where that came from and why that's important to us. And so, as many of you know, Annette and I both have a real estate business and a move management business, and we help a lot of clients who are in the process of downsizing. And one of the most common questions that we get is, am I in the best place where I am now, or should I be looking at somewhere else? And while we can't answer that for anyone, we can ask questions, and that's something we should all be doing as we continue to age, asking questions. Am I in the best place where I am now? And if I am, is that going to remain the best place? And can I stay where I am indefinitely? Hopefully, yes. But maybe there's changes that need to be made. And we're going to kind of talk about that. And if I decide I'm not in the best place, then what are the other options? That's what we're going to kind of talk about today. Because very often we come across clients who are not in the best place and have kind of left it too late to do something about it. And now they're in crisis mode. And we'll kind of talk about that as well.
You hit it. Although before we start, I want to make sure everybody silences their cell phones. So if you've got a cell phone, if you could take it out and put it on silence, because it does interrupt us when we're speaking. And you may be able to hear it in my voice. I'm getting over a cold, so I've got lots of water up here. And I've got people that are going to be replenishing my water too. So bear with me. Does anybody recognize this photo? Andy Rooney. I literally grew up with him. 60 Minutes, my parents watched it every Sunday. I loved what Andy Rooney would say at the end. And so we thought this quote that he said was very poignant. It's a paradoxical that the idea of living a long life appeals to everyone, but the idea of getting old doesn't appeal to anyone. I have had so many people tell me about their aches and pains and then say, Annette, don't get old. But what's the alternative? So it is not about getting old. It's about changing our environment to work for us as we age, because our body is going to change. Our environment's going to change. So what do we need to do to keep up with that?
So just before we get into that, I'm just curious, we just take a little poll of the room. Who plans on staying in their current home where you are now forever? Good. We're going to talk about denial a little bit later. I'm just kidding. Who knows at some point they're probably going to have to either change something about their home or perhaps move somewhere else? Has anyone come to that conclusion? Yeah. Yeah, maybe things just aren't right. And who has decided they're going to have to be carried out feet first of where they are now? Yeah. Never moving. Yeah, a few of us. So we're going to kind of talk about those three different categories as we kind of go along.
It's interesting. AARP says 90% of people plan on staying in their current home. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's understandable. It's where you're comfortable. It's where what you're familiar with. But it isn't the best place.
So we're going to talk about two types of people, or two types of moves, I should say, that people make. Mm-hmm. And the first one is what we see way too often, and that's people being reactive.
So we get calls on our Janelle Moves Made Easy, people calling us up saying, I have to make a move. I am in crisis mode. A lot of times we've actually gotten calls from people being in a nursing facility where they had to be in there for a short period of time, but now they need to leave and their home isn't safe for them to go. They're in crisis mode. It's being reactive instead of proactive, where you're planning ahead. We also have quite a few people that come to us and let us know, I plan on living a long time. I know that that's a possibility and I want to plan ahead. And so what do I need to do about my home, my living situation, to make sure that it's safe for me as I age? And given the fact that there's so many of you here, I'm going to assume that many of you are proactive, just educating yourself about what the possibilities are and how you can be prepared for your future.
So can we think of some examples of clients where they've been reactive? What's caused that situation?
It's usually a fall, something suddenly happened, a stroke, or your partner, something health-wise has happened with your partner. And so you're all of a sudden thrown into the caregiver role and you're physically not able to do this. We had a client call us up. He's blind. Now, he hasn't been blind his whole life. He used to be a race car driver, but he became blind. And then his wife, dementia, he ended up being her caregiver. Do you see a problem with that? Yeah. They lived in a big house, gorgeous views. Not that he could see them anymore, and she didn't care at that point, but it's a beautiful home, great area. And he was calling people in to help him around the house, but the house cleaners, when we got there, there was actually mice feces in the pantry. He didn't see it, and she didn't know to be concerned about it. When I walked through the house, the dog had defecated in one of the bedrooms. He didn't know it. I mean, letting the animal out. You get to that stage. I mean, these are very prominent people doing a lot of good in their own lives, and things declined. So they got to that point, and it's being more reactive. You want to be proactive so that that doesn't happen to you.
I'm just curious, is there anyone here, or just by a show of hands, who thinks nothing like that's ever going to happen to me? Yeah. Most of us probably, if we're honest,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's not going to happen to me. Unfortunately, the truth is it happens to a lot of people, and that's who we end up spending a lot of time helping. And they all said, I never thought this would ever happen to me. I thought I would, live a long, long life, nothing would happen, and then I'd just pass away in my sleep. And I guess we'd be lucky if that was the case for all of us. But unfortunately, shit happens, and we have to deal with it. So the whole reason, part of the reason why we do the education series is to be able to, plan what ifs. What's our plan B? What's our plan C? If we would become blind or have a stroke or fall and break a hip or whatever the case may be, so that we can be proactive versus reactive.
Exactly. And it's making your own decisions. We had a lady that her plan was to stay in her house for the rest of her life. And then she lived in Tahoe. She stepped outside and she slipped on some ice and broke her hip. She had no family nearby, nobody to help with basically clearing the snow and making sure that she was safe. And so her family stepped in and made the decision for her that she was moving. How do you think she felt? Terrible, pretty pissed off, quite frankly. When I met with her, she was mad. I'd be mad too. I don't like it when somebody makes decisions for me. I want to make those decisions. And that is what we're talking about now, is for you to be in a position where you make those decisions. You don't have somebody else coming in and making that for you.
Because our plan is never to move from our house. We plan to be there forever.
No, so sometimes couples don't agree.
I do. I love my house. I'm not moving. But I know that's not realistic, and I do need to have a plan B, just like all of us need a plan B.
Yeah.
We all need to have a plan B. So speaking of plan Bs.
So you may have a goal, but you need to have a plan, because if your goal is to make sure that you stay in your home for the rest of your life, then let's have a plan to make that happen. And if you don't have a plan, then your house is going to fall apart around you, and your health, things may happen that you're not able to take care of, and then somebody else may step in and make the decision. So today, it's talking about having that plan. What can you do to make sure that you are able to obtain your goal of staying in your home if that's your choice?
Who would like to make their own decisions? Stay in control.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to have someone else make the decisions for you, whether you like them or not?
Oh.
Okay, there's one honest person. Yeah. Most of us want to be in control, making our own decisions.
Yeah.
And even if then, maybe even if it's not the ideal situation, we still want to decide, don't we? We still want to have a say. We don't want someone else deciding for us. So what does aging in place really mean, Annette?
We often hear this, I want to age in place, but aren't we all aging? It doesn't matter where we're at, we're aging. So technically, what does aging in place really mean? It means being in control of your environment in wherever you call home. So it may be in your current home now, or it may be somewhere else. It's wherever you have control and you feel good in your own space. So let's start assessing your home. And only you can answer any of these questions. Where do you spend most of your time in your home? I had a gentleman that he invited me to his house. He was thinking of making a move. It was a 2-story house. All the bedrooms but one were upstairs. He hadn't been upstairs in several years. He literally lived in the bedroom, the living room, and the kitchen, and that was it. And he didn't spend a whole lot of time in the living room. A lot of time was in the kitchen area around the table. So where do you spend your time? How much of the house do you actually use? Do you need to be spending money to be heating and cooling the house, the parts of the house that you don't use? Okay. Does the space reflect how you live now? How many of you, is this going in and out? I feel like this.
That sounds good.
It's fine. Okay. How many of you have lived in your home for 30 plus years? 40 plus years? Okay, very good. When you were looking at buying your home 30, 40 years ago, did it meet your needs? What were you looking for in your home at that point? Have your needs changed? Like 30, 40 years ago, you may have bought your home because, or greater than that, because you had a family. So you have kids, and then the kids move out. Now you've got this extra space there that is now your storage room. Or maybe you've repurposed it. Or maybe it's in the upstairs that you don't even look at anymore and you just wait for guests to arrive. So does your space reflect how you live now? And if it doesn't, can you redefine your space? Do you have a dining room? Like when you first bought your house, did you like to entertain? So you use the dining room. And now, as time goes on, you don't necessarily entertain. Does that dining room sit empty? Is there something else that you could put in that space? I've had people turn their dining rooms into sewing rooms. I've had them turn them into living areas, separate living areas, if they've only had one great room and they want a separate room for TV. So oftentimes the husband and wife like to watch different TV shows, so they've got to have their own space. So what is it that would make your space more useful so you're using all of it? Are there some things that you can do to make your home safer? We talk about rugs. If you've got rugs are a tripping hazard, right? They flip up. I mean, you literally are tripping on them. They have double-sided tape where you can tape the rug down so that it can make it a lot safer for you. We actually have a home that we're in the process of selling right now, where the gentleman took it a step further and he literally glued all his rugs to the floor. We didn't know it. When I took the listing, I didn't ask him if his rugs were glued to the floor. It wasn't until he moved out and then the rugs were still in odd places. So it is your house. If you choose to glue the rug to the floor, feel free to do that. Just know that when it comes time to selling, the buyer may not like that exact same rug in that spot. So there'll just be, we'll just have to make concessions on that. It's not a big deal. It is your house. Use your house how you want to. I've got a lot of calls from people wanting to know, what can I do? Because I'm planning on remodeling, doing some things, which is great. I'm happy to be involved in that. But truly, it gets down to, this is your house. Live in your house how you want to live. And when it gets time to the point of actually selling your house, we'll deal with it at that point. It's not a big deal. So glue the rugs down if you choose to. Okay.
Glued down rugs and someone tripping on a rug and a broken hip or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
I had to almost catch someone coming in the door here because, you know, tripped on a rug on the mat out the front. I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, it's like probably should be glued down.
Well,
Maybe after this, I'll go and glue their rugs down and their mat.
The other thing that you can do is decluttering. Now, this is something you can do now.
Did you hear the sounds of the audience? People here. Not that dreaded declutter word.
Dreaded declutter. You know, I have spoken to a lot of people where family members have passed away, and who gets all the furniture? You do. It goes in your garage, goes in your house. So you end up with more than what you were planning on having in the first place. Is it safe? So think of your house. Is it if you're going to have a walker or a wheelchair, just planning for the future, are you able to safely walk through your house where you're not going to butt into furniture? Is it spacious? If not, it is time to look at decluttering the house. Clear things out so it makes it easier for you as you age in place. You don't want to have a fall and then you're going to have to come home to a cluttered house and now you've got a cane or a walker that you're dealing with that you didn't have before you went into the hospital. Declutter. It is important. It's a safety thing. And then this all comes down to preparing your home for what you might need in the future. Look at your house and just prepare for the future. One of the things that you can look at are just levers on the doors instead of knobs. Put in the levers. You can use your elbow to open a door. We did that on our garage door because how many times are you carrying your groceries in? Your hands are full. Just use the elbow and the hip and voila, you're in the door versus trying to put things down and turning a knob. As you get older, your fingers, I mean, if you've got arthritis or anything that can hinder your hands, what about your kitchen? Do you have knobs on your kitchen or do you have the drawer pulls that you can put on? Because it's much easier to get your hand around a pull than it is a knob. So think of that, of what you can do in your house now. And actually, if you're concerned about resale value, those are things that everybody likes. It doesn't matter. You're making your home safer for you, more convenient for you. And at the same time, it does not hinder as far as sale value if that is a concern to you.
And just to help in that process of thinking, after the seminar, we have a safety checklist that you can download, and it's in your handout where to go to find that. There's a number of handouts that we'll talk about. Rather than giving you 30 pages of materials, we've put them up on the website where you can download them. And if you need a hard copy, just let us know and we're happy to print them out for you, but rather than giving you a whole lot of paper. But it's a 3-page checklist of things to get you thinking about safety in your home. And we have a great education partner, Safety Squads. Yeah, I see Jeff over there. Stand up, Jeff. If you don't want to go through a checklist yourself, Safety Squads is exactly what they do. They'll come out for a fee, but they'll inspect your house and give you a report of all the things that you might want to consider doing in terms of making it safer. So you can either do it yourself or you can get someone else to help you with it. So I'd just encourage everyone to, download that, take a look at the different items on there. And they're all relatively inexpensive things, as Annette said, things as simple as, changing knobs, gluing down your rug. That we can also.
Light bulbs, making sure it's really nice and bright. When Brett and I bought our house, I don't know, the previous owners, they like those lights that just are dim and then get brighter and brighter as they turn on. When I walk into a room, I want to see what I'm looking at, not have this dim light that you got to wait for it to brighten up. So what kind of light bulbs do you have? It's nice to have something that's nice. When you walk into a room, it's nice and bright. I had a client that he was concerned about the safety of his girlfriend. So he went through and literally changed all the switches in the house so that when she walked through, it was motion detector. It would light up. It would just follow her around. I don't know if you want to go to that extent, but it is kind of nice if you're waking up in the middle of the night and you gotta, but then also then it's bright light when you've been sleeping. So you kind of need to weigh those things.
It's a common one we've
Mhm.
come across numerous times, is people just tripping over, going to the bathroom in the middle of the night because it's all dark. And for whatever reason, lost our balance and couldn't see, and over we go. And now we've broken something and we're off to skilled nursing for recovery. And yeah, so yeah, lighting is super important, removing tripping hazards.
So home modifications for your specific needs. This is actually another handout that we have. So everybody, this is kind of planning for the future. So for instance, if you have poor balance and coordination, a walk-in shower is handy. A walk-in shower with a seat. So you can have a seat where it's separate, where you can buy those separate that just sit in the shower, or you can have the ones that are against the wall and fold down as you need it. So a walk-in shower with a seat, rounded counter edges.
I guess
So
just going
again,
back
so
to
when
that
you
too,
find,
though, some of the modifications, you know, a lot of us, we're price sensitive. So there's like good, better, and best. We don't always have to have the best of things, just something that's good and serves our need, like just putting in a appropriate seat in the shower versus having to rip out a shower and redo it. So don't always think things have to be super expensive. There's different options that are lower cost. Maybe a remodeled shower looks great, but if that's not in the budget,
and that is very true. So let's say that you have a shower over the bathtub. So you can put in, they have the shelves that you can put in on the bathtub. So you can literally sit on that, flip your legs over to get into the shower. So it's not where you're literally climbing over to get into the tub. There are inexpensive options. Just like Brett said, it is good. That's a good option. A better one is if you have the funds to be able to remodel and be able to have a walk-in shower. But again, we're not talking about changing your house. We're talking about making it safer for you. And you're the one that gets to decide that. And that's even with a raised toilet seat. You've seen those where you can just buy the toilet seat that's raised up. That's a lot less expensive than having to go out and buy a brand new toilet and having that installed. So there are different options for you. Let's say you're hearing impaired. Strobe smoke detectors, so you can see that it's going to be in if there's a fire. So look at what you can do to make those changes. A visual doorbell. Does anybody in here live in Toscana? Anybody? So I was showing a home in Toscana recently, and the front porch light was flashing. And I learned, which I didn't realize until then, that all the houses in Toscana have the front porch light. There's a button at the front porch where you can flip it and the front porch light will flash. So it alerts the neighbors that there's a problem at the house. Now, isn't that cool? That's pretty inexpensive. And it's a visual for the neighbors to go, oh, I need to go check on you and see what's happening. Knock on the door. Just, is there anything you need? Can I help you? Okay.
And for those not familiar with Toscana, it's a 55 plus retired living community in Sparks. You own the house, but they're all 55. You need to be 55 plus to own one of the homes. Yeah.
Right, exactly. What about limited reach? Now, I thought this was fantastic. I went and actually showed a home in Verdi. And in the closet, it was really high ceiling. And they're like, oh, this is made for people in wheelchairs. And I thought, oh my gosh, could be made for anybody. So it was a rod that was up high, but it had an arm that was dangling down. So you're down here, you can just pull the arm down and it pulls all the clothes down to your level. You pick off what you don't want, and then you just push it back up and it goes right back up into the space. There are things that can be done so that you can utilize that extra space. Does anybody have a closet with a high ceiling? Yeah.
Does
It's-
anyone have a ladder in there where you climb up and risk falling off and breaking something? Don't do it. Standing on phone books, yeah, great. Real stuff.
What's a phone book? Yeah, exactly. A ladder, it sounds like. So you want to make sure that if you have limited reach, there are items that can make it more helpful for you. For instance, like Lazy Susan. How many of you have a Lazy Susan in your kitchen? Like, so you're able to reach in. You can just turn the Lazy Susan and be able to see your items instead of reaching deep into drawers or cupboards. Limited vision. How many of you, I don't know, it was in the 90s, maybe even the 70s. So common to have a drop down living room. Brett and I bought a house with a drop down living room. You know how many people came over and just fell into our living room? Yeah. So if you have a drop down living room and you don't have the money to raise the floor or it doesn't make sense, make sure that you have different colored material so you can see the difference. If you have the top is wood and the bottom is wood, you can't visually see the difference between the two, and it is a tripping hazard. We had some clients that they had steps out front. They literally painted yellow at the edge of each step. Now, that was not inside the house. That was in the outside of the house. But it very visually, you can see the step. So what are some things you can do? Inside the house, it's just changing the material. You can have one side carpet and the other side wood. You can, if it's all wood, then you need to change the color of the wood or put tape down. We've had people put tape down. Again, it is your house. Do what makes sense for you financially and health-wise. So just so you can see that. So if you're visually impaired, and quite frankly, this is not just for visually impaired. You know, when I'm walking into somebody's house, I'm looking at the person. I'm not looking down to see that I don't miss a step. I'm assuming that it is a straight shot. So if you're visually impaired, that's one thing that you can do. Lights in every closet. How many times do you go into a closet and you not want the light on? You always want the light on, right? I went to my cousin's, and this was, I want to say 30 years ago. He showed me his house, and that is the one thing that I remembered about his house is he showed me his master closet, and the light automatically turned on when you open the door. I thought that was the coolest thing. So when we bought our house and we had a closet underneath the stairs, what's one of the first things we installed was a light that turns on when you open the door. It's a Home Depot fix.
A $10 little item that just goes in the door jamb and checks when the door's open or not. And I know where this story is probably going because
so we installed it, and my mother, Brett's mother-in-law, was in the closet rummaging around getting things, and Brett saw the door to the closet was open, so he shut the door.
And I hear, I'm in here. What's the problem? The light's on. No, it's not when you close the door.
Right. So if you're going to close the door, make sure nobody's in the closet. So easy fix for something like that. And if it's not easy for you, then you can hire somebody to do that. But like Brett said, it's just a $10 item. Another thing that we've done, they're just plugins that are light sensitive. So if sunlight hits it, it's not on. Once it's dark, it turns on. So there are lights that you can get that are light sensitive that you can just plug them in. That is really easy. And you just get those at Walmart.
$10 item, yeah, plug in your hallway or bathroom. So at night, you've got some lighting without having to turn on a light switch. You can see where you're going.
Exactly. The other thing that I just absolutely love, I get ideas when I go to other people's houses, and then I take them home and say, we need to do this. The magnetic doorstop. It is one of my favorite favorite items. I went to a lady's house on a listing presentation, and unfortunately I didn't get the listing, but I did get the idea, and I love it. For the garage door, how many times do you go in and out of the garage, especially if you're carrying groceries? And it's supposed to be spring loaded so that the door will close to help if there's a fire, it will help so it won't spread. But if you're carrying groceries, you're not concerned about a fire at that moment. You want the door to stay open. It's magnetic. You just push it against the magnet. The door will stay open. You can come in and out of the garage, put your groceries away, and then you just flick it. Really easy. Another $10 item.
About $6 at Lowe's, actually. Yeah.
Okay. We're getting cheaper.
Yeah. At Lowe's or Home Depot or online, Amazon.
Now we
Very easy to install.
they're easy to install. Yeah. Highly recommend if you're able to do something like that. It is one of my most favorite items that we've done to our house. And we've done a lot to our house. And that is, I like the $6 magnetic doorstop. Easy to read thermostat. You know, they have these numbers. If you have visually, it's difficult for you to read those thermostats, but like the Nest, oh my gosh, you just walk by it and it turns on and it's very vivid, exactly what the temperature is. It's very easy. So if you have problems with dexterity, it's very easy to turn it. You're not trying to do these little, fidget with a little knob to try to turn the temperature. The whole thing's like a dial. So they're, again, something that you can visually see. It's very easy. How about if you're taking medicine and it's hard for you to remember? I mean, I have a hard time remembering if I need to take medicine. Or let's say you're a caregiver and you need to remind somebody to take medicine. There is a Reminder Rosie. It's a clock, and it will actually has 25 personal messages that you can say on it. And you can say, remember to take your medicine, now's the time, or however message you want to say. Or if you have a spouse, you can say their name. Hey, Bill, you got to take your medicine now. So it's a way to remind yourself or those that you're caring for to take the meds, because medicine, not taking it, is one of the top reasons why people are not able to stay independent. They forget to take their medicine, and then that's when problems happen. Oh, open window shades. The more light you have, the better. I love having the windows open. My mom loves having the windows open. Always early in the morning, everything's nice and bright, and I love that. But you know what I don't like is going around and opening up all the shades. And so you can automate that now. Now, that may or may not be in your budget, but it is something that you can have it automated. I actually got to the point where I was thinking, let's not put any shades up at all. I'd rather, even at the nighttime, I don't care. I'd rather have all the shades open. But Brett is tech savvy. And so all the shades come down at a certain time, all the shades open at a certain time. You can have somebody that is tech savvy, because I am not. And I'm very worried when something happens to him, because I'm sure it's going to happen to him before me. I'm going to be left with these shades that are going to be going, I have no idea what to do with them. But there are tech savvy people that can help you with that if that is something that'd be important to you. And it's a good safety measure, because you're letting more light in. The more light, the more you can see. Under counter lighting, bright lights. So this document that we have is also on the downloads.
Yeah.
So we will have this available, and you can go through and figure out what would be best for you, what would work for you in your home.
So we just went over a sampling of the things that are there, but it's a pretty long list of things. And obviously we're all in different circumstances as to what would be helpful and what would not. So you just need to take the time to look at it for yourself. And it'll change over time as, we continue to age. Some things make more sense than others.
And I touched on outside assistance, getting other people to help you. And then technology is like I was talking about, Reminder Rosie, or if you have the Amazon Echo, you can set it up to make reminders for you as well. So, or your phone, or you get the Google Watch. There's all kinds of technologies available. If you have a wanderer in your family, somebody that has memory issues and wanders off, they have insoles that you can put in their shoes, and it has a GPS on it. So they can wander off and then you can find them. So there is wonderful technology that is available to help with this.
Or if you just want to track your spouse in general, slip those into their shoes. But you're probably already aware, even with phones, you can do that. Like, again, Annette can see where I am at any time, and we can see where our son is at any time, because even phone technology has that ability now to know where family members are.
Which we helped my mom with. So Brett and I were gone for a while, and my mom was in charge of our son, our teenage son, that didn't think it was important to tell his grandma that he was leaving and left. And grandma didn't know how to get a hold of him or where he went or anything. So when he came back from his little escapade, we had him show grandma how she can track him on his phone, so that doesn't happen again. So you can do that with just the Find Me. Yep. All right.
So the next question is, how do we know if we are no longer in the best place? How do we determine if the place we're in now, if that is the best place, or whether we should be considering other possible options? How do we know?
Where you are should bring you comfort. Is it your happy place? When you go there, do you enjoy what you see and how you feel when you walk into your home? It bring you pleasure? Is it hassle-free? Everything is easy for you in your home? Do you just feel good there? Do you feel in control? If you say no to any of those, then what is it that you can do to change it so you do feel in control? Or is it to the point where you can't do anything about it and you need to find a new place that would be a better fit? I'm going to give you an example. I had a lady, her pride and joy were her rose bushes. Love them. She loved going up to her house and seeing her rose bushes, how beautiful they looked. She loved taking care of them. But it got to the point where she wasn't physically able to do it anymore. And so her rose bushes that used to bring her joy and pride, now she looked at them, and how do you think she felt? Frustrated, sad, represented her past. It didn't represent how she felt it should be. So that was very aggravating. I get a lot of calls with people about their yards, where it used to bring you joy. You bought your home 30, 40 years ago, an acre lot maybe. You were taking care of it. Everything was looking pristine. If it needed to be done, you did it, or your spouse did it. The two of you could take care of it. And now you're not getting up on any ladders. You got to call somebody to come and help you. Do they show up? Do they do a good job? Do you feel like they charged you the right price? So it is getting the right people to help you. So I'm not saying that you have to do everything yourself. If you have the right people in place to help you and you are financially able to pay them, then your home may be the right place for you if you're able to continue that. So you need to be able to answer the question, how you feel, and if you're not feeling good, can you change it so you do feel good about it? Can you hire somebody to help you? Or in her case with the rose bushes, could she hire somebody just to tear them out and put something else in its place so she doesn't have to look at that anymore? I had this reminds me of a story. I had a roommate. She drove my car and she ran it into the post that's supposed to protect the gas tanks.
Water heater.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the water heater. Well, I did have a client that ran through his house too, that ran through the water heater into his kitchen, but that was that's a major remodel. So she wrecked the car, but it takes a while to get into a body shop to get it fixed. But it was a reminder to her each time she saw my wrecked car that she did that. And so she got upset with me for not taking it to the body shop soon enough, so she didn't have to look at it anymore. So it kind of goes in the same thing. If there's something that bothers you, is there some way we can fix it? Remove it. In the lady's case, remove the rose bushes, remove it in any way you can do. We had our front yard. Oh my gosh. It was like you take a lawnmower and you're going up and down hills, and it's not supposed to be up and down hills. It's supposed to be flat. But for whatever reason, it was just the ground was not level. And our son, he would be not happy about having to mow the lawn. We ended up.
Can you grab another mic, Alexa, please?
I'm back.
Hold it up higher. They're sensitive if you have your hand down to it.
Oh, hold it. Okay, thank you. So the lawn, we ended up yanking out the lawn and putting on pavers. Now we love our front yard. And it's low maintenance. We don't have to worry about it at all. No more mowing the lawn. You know who's really happy? Our son. Exactly.
Dad's happy too. I don't have to pay him anymore to mow the front lawn.
That is true. So what can you do to make it your space, the right space for you? On the list of items that we have provided or have kind of gone over and are on the website are the things in your house that you can change to make it better for you, so it is the best place for you, where you're happy, comfortable, confident, and most importantly, safe.
Yeah, you like where you are and you feel in control.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then you're in the best place. You don't need to change anything. And if things aren't feeling comfortable anymore, something has changed, then we need to look at what are the options. Yeah.
We have the stages of change. Did you want to say something about it?
Well, I was just thinking about my earlier comment about many of us, including me, being in denial. Yeah.
But we're not going to talk to those of you that are in denial.
They didn't come today. They're all at home.
Yeah. You left your denial self at home. You're here in the thinking, planning, and action phase, right? I mean, that's why you're here. It's all about being educated and knowing what's available for you. So thinking about, what does my future hold? What can I do now to make it better for me in the future? Planning. Remember, a goal is not useful at all unless you've got an actual plan to make it happen. So put in a plan and then take action on that plan. Have you ever met anybody that goes to all the seminars, takes lots of notes, and doesn't do anything with the knowledge? We have in real estate, there are seminars all over the country you can go to. And we've met many real estate agents. Oh yeah, they could tell you, regurgitate everything that you need to do. And they didn't do any of it ever. And they fully admitted, I love going to conferences. So hopefully the fact that you're here, you're going to take action. Take a look at your home, download the information we've provided to you. If you're not able to download it, let us know. We will provide it to you. Go through your home, figure out what you can do to make it the best place. And if it's not the best place, then take action on the next step to find the best place for you.
And part of that is taking advantage of our education partners. They're all working with people like us who are continuing to age, and they know the challenges that we possibly come up against, and they're all a great resource to be able to talk to, whether it's in health, the home, living options. So I would just encourage everybody when you come to the seminars to make sure you know what all of our education partners do.
Yeah, and we were just talking about finances, being able to afford making some changes to your home so it works for you. You might want to consider a reverse mortgage to be able to pull the money out and be able to use that to help your house. Just a possibility, an option for you to take a look at. You can also, like we mentioned, safety squads, be able to call them up, have them come out and do a safety assessment of your house if you choose to have help, or you can just do it yourself.
And if you're thinking your home may not be the place, go and visit many of our senior living communities, whether it's where you own a home that's more manageable, or whether it's one of the communities you move into and they provide the meals and socialization and transportation and activities. Just get to know who all the partners are so you know what the options are. Even if you don't plan on doing anything for 10 years, just knowing and what's available, I think it empowers us to be able to make good decisions.
And then also when you do that, it's good to talk to your family members or whoever you're close to that are decision makers in your life that help you make decisions. Tell them what you're thinking about, what you want for your future, because if you're not able to speak for yourself later on, they can at least speak for you because they know what your wishes were. So it's good to share the information. I always talk to my son about, you know how you have a birthday cake and they say, make a wish, but don't tell anybody? I've always told my son, you tell me what your wish is, because if you keep it a secret, it's not going to happen. You need to tell us what you wish for. So spread the word, let people know about what you want, because then they can make it happen for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can help you. So we have a little exercise for us all to do. So on your handout on the second page, I think it's the second page of the handout. Yes, you should have a page that looks like what's up on the screen. This will either work really well for everybody or this will be a total flop, but we'll see. And part of this is you going away from this seminar and giving it thought. But we wanted to try to give you something that might help depending on where you are at. So let's go to the next part of it. So on the very bottom, we're going to start where it says, at age X, will I still be in my comfort and mastery zone? So will I still feel comfortable in the environment I'm in, and will I still have mastery of everything? Will I be in control? So just like you to write down your age today. How old are we today? In the very first box where it says today. So I'm 54. Or am I 53? I'm about to turn 54.
Right.
Yeah.
How old am I?
Yeah. And then in 5 years from now, what age would you be?
58.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah. And what about in 10 years' time? And the reason we're having you write down these ages is it kind of makes it more real. We really have to think about it. It's like, I'm going to be that old in those times. And what about 20 years? And how many years is 100 away? Because we're all living a lot longer, and the probability is a whole lot of us in this room are going to be still around when we're 100. So we need to really be thinking about what do we want our future to look like? Because if we don't think about it, no one else is going to be helping us with it. Yeah, so today, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then how many years is 100 away for us? And then what we want to think about is, are we in our best place today? Hopefully for most of us, the answer is yes. So under your age today, there's 3 check boxes in each category. So am I in the best place today? Based on what we've talked about, do I feel like I'm in the best place? And if you are, just check yes. And we're good for now. We don't need to do anything more. But if you're feeling like you're a little bit out of your comfort zone or the mastery zone, there's things that aren't working for you in your current environment, maybe some changes are needed. We can still stay where we are, but maybe we need to bring in some help. Maybe we need to change those doorknobs. Maybe we need some better lighting in our house. So if you're feeling uncomfortable at all in your environment, maybe socialization, feeling isolated, depressed, then we might want to check the box, change is needed. And if you're really out of your comfort zone and mastery, then probably we're not in the best place. So we'd check not in the best place. So do you want to talk, Annette, about some of the comfort zones and mastery zones that we encounter with clients where they definitely feel like some change is needed? And then what we want to do is apply this. Well, what about when I'm 5 years older than what I am now, and then 10 years older and 20 years? What do I kind of project? Would I still be in my comfort and mastery zone? So let's just talk about some of the things that are on the list that take us out of that.
One of the things that, how many of you are the cooks of the household? You know, what's interesting is oftentimes I see more women raising their hands, but I do see a few men, so that's awesome. But oftentimes it's the women that decide, I am not comfortable with this anymore, because they're the ones that are cooking, but they're also aging and it's more difficult. And the husband sitting there, or the spouse, I'm sorry for those of you that are the husbands, but the spouse is like, okay, I'm ready for my next meal. They're not feeling it as much. So the meals, nutrition, and then it can downgrade as far as what kind of meals are you making now. I bet you they're not as robust as they were when you were younger and feeling really good about making the meals. So meals and nutrition. Now, there are things that can be done with that. You can have meals brought in. They have Meals on Wheels, or you can pay for those companies that will actually deliver food to your house. You can still cook with what they bring, or however you want to do it, or they'll already be made. Too much house. Oh my gosh, the house is too big. I'm only living in part of it. The yard is humongous and it's just going to weeds. I can't get the right person to even come and help me with all of this. So this can be out of your comfort zone. Shopping, transportation. Remember the first story I talked to you about? The blind man that was a caregiver for his wife with dementia. Can you believe he still drove? He was legally blind. Would you like to be on the road with him? No. We wanted to help him as soon as possible, but he didn't see any other way around it. He needed to still go to the grocery store, and he just figured, I know where to go, but you're dependent upon everybody else knowing where to go too, and it being a smooth drive.
And as you think about some of these, think about the costs too. So sometimes, yes, we can make modifications or bring in help. If we need help with activities of daily living, we have Yomata Senior Care that can come in and help. We have Centerwell Health. But as you think about those, what is the financial cost over time as we keep adding these up? And does that make sense, perhaps in contrast to what some other alternatives may be that might be the same cost, less hassle, or maybe even less cost?
And then we've got mastery zone. So may no longer have mastery of driving, falling. I have actually spoken to quite a few people. The reason why they end up calling us is because they keep falling. They're like, we need to be somewhere else. I'm living in my home alone and I just keep falling. I want to live a lot longer. I had my grandmother's boyfriend that he lived alone and he had a stroke. He fell. Nobody was there to find him. He literally dragged his body. I mean, so he was alive. So it's better that you're with somebody. You have people around you, somebody calling you up, checking on you, knowing to, hey, see how you're doing. You don't know what the future holds. So just make sure that as far as mastery, if you're having issues with falling, you have somebody that just checks on you, or somebody that expects a call from you, something consistent.
Or technology that can help, that detects that you're lying horizontally and you haven't moved in a period of time, and someone automatically just gets notified.
Right. They do have technology for that. Might see some of you wearing the sensors you can put around your neck, but you can do it where you don't see that. And it's just like the Google Watch. They've got the watches and they can tell the difference between where you've actually fallen down versus you lying down, taking a nap. Okay. Finances. If it's getting a struggle as far as keeping track of the finances, if you don't have mastery of that, you're dependent upon somebody else to help you with that. So get the help that you need for that, or let's say you can't afford to be in your house anymore. I've definitely had calls with that. I can't make my house payment anymore. I've got a lady now, she can't even pay for the heat. You know how cold it is out there, and she doesn't have the money to pay for the heat. So if you get to that point, hopefully you've had a plan in place and you never get to that point. That's why we're talking about this now. Make a plan.
Yeah, and even if you own your house outright, sometimes we're house rich, cash poor. We don't have the money to fix the roof or make the modifications. That's where you want to go and talk to Debbie or Lisa and learn what is a reverse mortgage. How could that potentially help? Would that be a fit for you or not? So lots of options. So we just encourage you to do this exercise in your own time, just giving that really thought in conjunction with the lists that we've provided that you can download or we'll happily send to you. And then the two questions that come from that at the bottom, can you read them, Annette?
If change is anticipated to stay in my comfort and mastery zones, what changes will be needed? So what do you need to change in order for you to stay in your comfort and mastery zones? And if your current living environment is no longer the best place, what is my plan B? What about a plan C? It's good to have a backup plan, but I always say have a backup to your backup plan. Just look at the options. It's not meaning that you're going to be making changes right now if you're going to be leaving your own home, but just know what the options are and decide what's best for you. All right. So we are this time we've been just talking about your house and what you can do to make it the best place for you. But if you decide that it is not the best place for you, in March, we are going to have a panel and we're going to talk about other living options in the area. So mark your calendar. Yes, we are having a seminar next month too, but we're skipping to March, just letting you know that a follow-up to this is just other living options in Reno, Sparks, Carson City, options for you to know if you decide that your current home is not the right place.
So you have 2 months to do your homework and decide. Just kidding. Even if you plan on never moving, I would still encourage you to come and just learn what the options are. That's what this is all about. Yeah, what's your plan B, A, B, and C? And this includes for people who aren't ready yet, because none of us are ready to make moves. So on your handout, we've put the website, which is the Retired Living True series. By mid next week, the recording of this seminar will be up there along with the handouts. All of the handouts that we're talking about, you'll be able to download. Again, if that presents a problem, just call our office. We're happy to print them out, drop them in the mail to you if you think any of those would be of help to you. We just didn't want to inundate you with 20 pages of paper if it doesn't make sense at the moment. We know everybody's in a different place. And again, just encourage you on the fourth bullet point there is, take advantage of our education partners that are here. We touched on safety squads, having a home safety inspection done. If that makes sense, talk to them, learn more about that. We touched on a reverse mortgage. We talked about in-home care. Get to know what all of our partners do. They're here for you. So upcoming events. So actually, Lisa Fleck, Lisa, can you come up here for just a moment? Do we have a microphone? Yes. Lisa has offered to kindly do a workshop for us next Thursday. Could you tell everybody a little bit about what you're going to talk about?
Well, sure. This has actually been great. So thank you so much for letting me join the group. And as I was standing back there listening to Annette and Brett, I looked up a quote that I thought was really relevant. I'm going to read it because I don't remember things well. The art of life lies in a constant readjustment to our surroundings. So what, again, building off of what you guys talked about was how can we create an environment that is going to allow you to live your best life? So next Thursday, I'm going to be doing a workshop covering reverse mortgages, educating you. I heard this, like when he said reverse mortgage, I heard this, oh. So I would encourage you to come and learn about the facts so that we don't go, oh. And I also would encourage you to bring any people in your family. If you have children, that this is something that you want them to be educated about. I've worked with people where they bring their financial planners with them, because then you have a person who is really your advocate there with you to help you kind of understand what it is that's going on. It's always great to have a second set of ears to answer questions as well. So hopefully you guys will all join us next Thursday.
Great. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, that's not for you. That's great.
So if you'd like to learn more, you have a handout there, a flyer that talks about the workshop. If you would like to attend, on your yellow evaluation form, there's a checkbox. We just ask you to indicate there that you wish to attend so we can make sure we have handouts and everything for everybody. It is not here. It is at our office in South Reno. If you have not been to our office before in the training room, we have directions on the handout, and we'd highly encourage you to follow the directions on the flyer. Danielle is shaking her head saying, not Google. Google will leave you in a parking lot somewhere and you'll be going, where am I? So on that handout, it has pictures of the building and the map. Definitely use that.
Even if you've come to our office before, bring the directions. We've had people that have come to our office before and go, I thought I'd have no problem. I was able to get here last time. Bring the directions.
We're in a business park and all the buildings look the same, very similar. So it can be confusing, as Annette said, even if you have been to our office before. Where else are we going next? Yeah, so if you mark on the yellow evaluation form if you'd like to attend. So that's next Thursday at 10:30, not 10 o'clock, but 10:30 at our office. What day?
Thursday.
Next Thursday. What time?
10:30.
10:30. And what do you need to do if you want to attend? Mark it on the yellow evaluation form. Yes. And then on February the 16th, basically a month from now, we'll be back here with the truth about healthcare for seniors. One size doesn't fit all. So we have some great panelists that will be talking. I'll be basically, Annette and I will be interviewing. And then in March, we have the truth about senior living options for people who aren't ready yet. So we'll have a number of our communities talking about what it looks like when we aren't ready and what are the options out there. Alexa, did we bring some tear-off schedules? We do. Yeah, so I just wanted to thank those past attendees who have been helping promote the Truth Series by putting these tear sheets in places they frequent, whether it's a coffee shop, a gym. If you would like the 2023 one, Alexa has those and will happily hand those out. And we just appreciate you telling other people about the Truth Series and spreading the word. Questions? So we're happy to take any questions. Yeah, so if we can get our mic runners. Just one moment. Let's get a mic to you. Debbie, can you come up and join me?
So the question was, where do you buy Reminder Rosie? Amazon. So go to Amazon and it's there. I actually looked up Reminder Rosie and the company sells them through Amazon. I thought I could just buy it directly through the company. You can't. So go to Amazon. And you can just Google Reminder Rosie. There's other places you can buy it too, but that's the easiest one.
And I'm dreading this new thing Annette's found. What is it? Rosie Reminder?
Reminder Rosie.
So I'm going to see one in our house and go, Brett, take out the trash. Brett, do this. Brett, do that. There'll be all these reminders for me. So Debbie's going to take the left side of the room. Debbie, can you just introduce who you are? Debbie's one of our education partners.
Hi, I'm Debbie Wood. I'm with Flagstar Bank. I do all types of mortgage lending, including reverse mortgages. So, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you, Debbie. Melissa?
Hi, Melissa. I'm from Schultz Law Group. We specialize in elder law, estate planning, trusts, wills, powers of attorney, and we also assist with the VA aid and attendance benefit should you need it. Thanks.
And if someone needs help with the VA aid and attendance, what does it cost them?
It costs $12.95, which is less than a month worth of the benefit. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. So hands up for questions, and we'll start on this side of the room. And over on this side, does anyone have questions? Down the back.
Question, with all the technology and like we're thinking about getting the Apple Watch or your Google Watch, whatever, for different reasons, falls that it automatically, is there any resource that helps? I know you can go to Apple, but is there any resource that you can go to that where you can learn what all the technology is for some of these devices?
Great question.
Is the Apple Store stopping now? What's the hours of that?
Yes, I think you'd mentioned that the Apple Store, they're a great resource, the Genius Bar, just making an appointment with them. Just to our education partners that are here, I see a couple. Do you guys have any suggestions as far as implementing that kind of technology? Resources?
Get on YouTube and you just type it and it'll show you on YouTube how to exactly do it. Oh, it's right there next to you. That's YouTube will help you out. Man.
So YouTube is a suggestion. Yeah, I'd start with
Yeah.
Apple and then Googling or YouTube is probably the best suggestions. Or your
Oh, your
grandchild,
grandchild, yes.
one. Yeah.
If you are a member of Ollie, which is a marvelous, wonderful resource for a lot of things, specified Tuesdays a month, they have tech classes for people who want to do their skills and with a computer and also the cell phone. And that's really nice. So you might want to go online and register to be in Ollie.
Very good.
Thank you so much
Great,
for
thank you.
suggesting that. For those who aren't aware, Ollie, Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, is affiliated with the University of Nevada, Reno.
Be over here.
Sorry.
I believe the best one is your library. All the libraries give tech classes on their phones.
Oh, okay. Great.
Great
Thank you.
suggestion. Library. Ollie, Osher Lifelong Learning Institute's part of the affiliated with the university.
OLLI.
Yeah, ollie.org, I think is the website, or maybe it's olliereno.org. OLLI. Yeah, great
Mhm.
resource. Question over here.
You might have covered some of this with the technology, but if you are living in a wonderful home, it's nice and secure, and you're locked in at night, what if you have a stroke? You're there by yourself. So tips for that. Down the stairs, get the door open. You got a lot to think about. So any tips on that as you age?
We have people that actually put a combination on their door so a combination lock, or you change technology. You change the front door lock so it can be unlocked separately, like remotely. But you would have to, if you've had a stroke, you'd have to be of the mindset to be able to do that. Or it's like we said, the light switch, being able so the neighbors know that there's a problem. Somebody that has a key to your house that has a way to get in.
And I think
You
the
have to turn it
technology,
on.
Again, going back to like the watch,
Mhm.
the watch detects that and can alert someone that they know, including probably getting too technical, but home automation where the watch lets the home know that something is wrong and the strobe light out the front starts flashing and calls your daughter or whatever it is, or 911. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in a position, you can
Mhm.
hold certain buttons on your watch and that'll also alert 911 that, you're in need of help.
Yep.
Yeah. Guess it's really hard, isn't it? There's so much technology and trying to understand it. Maybe we need to do a workshop on
Yeah.
some of the technology. Where this side of the room, I think. No, over here.
I've been listening to everything you're saying, and one of my problems is the money. I mean, I have Social Security. That's it. And that isn't going to cover all the repairs to your house, even though I'm in a house I love. So it's, what do you do for money?
And that's where we talk about maybe possibly doing a reverse mortgage. You already have one. Right.
Can
Yeah.
refinance.
Services and all that stuff, they cost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do a lot of volunteer work with St. Vincent's, and a lot of times the young people at St. Vincent's or the local churches will come over and they'll do your lawn. The Mormons will do that. They travel around. They did free moving. They'll do garage cleanups. They're just real nice young kids, and they just come in. They help you out. It's not like an ongoing thing, but if you have something really bad there, we've tuned up cars. We put brakes on cars. We've done minor moving jobs. We cleaned up, just did a whole cleanup through the kitchen and all that. And all you got to do is just ask and just go through. A lot of times your local church will do it, and they have youth groups in there. And when I was on the youth group in the 80s, we'd go over there and just clean it up once a year. We'd go over there and just get everything done. And the next year they'd call us again, because it's always a lot of help through either St. Vincent's or the Mormon Church or the Catholic Church or your local church.
Thank you. And I'd also just suggest, because I know it's really tough, talking to people like Lisa and Debbie, while, reverse mortgage may not make sense because you've already explored that, they may know of other resources within the community. And that's why we have the education partners, because they're connected to lots of different people to be able to perhaps know of things we don't know about or you don't know about, in terms of being able to maybe find other avenues of help. Yeah.
We need to have you have a mic
Come up here, Lisa.
because we're recording everything.
Sorry, if you already have a reverse mortgage, don't rule out the fact that can be refinanced into a new reverse mortgage. It over and over again, even if you've done it 2 or 3 times, it all depends on the equity position, but that's a possibility. Just not to forget that.
I think the best way we can all help ourselves is to talk to as many knowledgeable people as we can. That's why we try to have our education partners here. And I know if they don't have the answers like we don't, we'll try to find someone who has better answers than we have. And some of these are, just really tough, questions to try to answer. Yeah, so we.
Hi. A long time ago, a friend of mine told me that when you're by yourself, when you go to bed at night, take your car keys, lay them next to the bed, and you could hit the panic button on your car keys that sets off the alarm in your car. Eventually will attract somebody's attention that there's a problem at your house. Or when you go outside to work in the yard, you live by yourself. I carry my keys and my cell phone too. So those are, cheap ways to help call attention if you're in trouble.
It is, although I would also do one step further and talk to your neighbors and let them know if they hear the alarm that they need to come check on you, because how many of us hear alarms in the neighborhood and just ignore it? But if your neighbors know that that is your way of communicating, then they will jump to it. Yeah. Yes, less expensive.
That's a great
Yes.
suggestion. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ned said, if
Yeah.
the neighbor's listening for it, it's like, oh, it's my neighbor. She's obviously in trouble, or he, because the alarm in the car's going off. Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions? Oh, my cousin Sharon has a question. Always has a question.
It's not so much a question. Can Alexa call 911?
Alexa, can you call 911?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because that could be a good option. Yeah, I've never tried it. I mean, you wouldn't, I don't know. That would probably be a Google thing.
That is a
to
great
ask.
question, and I'd be
Right.
surprised if it didn't, if there wasn't some way to be able to set that up. Yeah. So I will take it on researching that, at least for that device. Yeah. Because wouldn't that be great? If you, as long as you got verbal abilities to be able to say in your house, I need help, or whatever the magic code word is, and that would alert someone or 911.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And those are very inexpensive, as long as you have internet, which not everyone does, but you can buy those devices for like $15.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm so glad you basically drove on these crazy roads where they closed the schools down to be here with us. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.